That's going to be the sound I'm making in today's tutorial, but for now, let's delete it and make it from scratch. And the beauty of this patch is that you use stock Serum wavetables. So you need basic MDC, respace, I know I have so many wavetables, Resi Mesh 4. Starting off, pitching both oscillators down to semitones. Introducing a sub-os, having that down 1 octave, and the saw wave thingy. Modulation wise for oscillator 1, we want classic FM from B, and we also want pulse width modulation. MG low 12, perfect. And that is going to be filtering oscillator A, B, and the sub as well. It sounds like shit. Right, let's create some of our shapes in the LFOs. This one is going to be set to a bar, trigger, and something like a ramp up kind of. I don't know why I sound tested that, it's not modulating anything right now. LFO 2, also trigger, and that is going to be another bar. And going to create some weird kind of up, down, something like that, and we'll change the curve just a little bit. Yeah. Stop sound checking, nothing's gonna be played. LFO 3, this is where the comes in. So obviously a pitch up, I'm gonna start from low and then go to high and then drop that back around there. And you guessed it, that it would be another bar and on trigger. And lastly, LFO 4, we are gonna create just like a pitch envelope kind of, yeah, maybe like that. And you guessed it, that's a bar as well. Well, this whole kind of growl extends over a bar, so that's kind of what makes sense. Also trigger on that. Right, back into LFO 1, let's get into some modulation. First one, click, hold, drag. See this view, about 2/3, just gonna bring that back there. Not that you can hear that much because the filter, but don't worry, we will very soon. Also gonna drag the same LFO onto FM from B. This is also around 2/3-ish. Also LFO 1 to pulse width modulation, also the same-ish, but we're going to drag this up a little bit. Maybe back it off there. There we go. And that's LFO 1 done for the basic oscillator. There'll be more mappings to do once we get to the effects section, but for now let's hop on over to LFO 2. Only one mapping for this, and that is going to the wavetable on oscillator 2. And we kind of want like a halfway mark, then maybe there, and bringing it up to maybe like the 10 o'clock position. Alright, we can hear it start to move. Let's hear it without the filter. It's kind of just a distorted, Resi mess at the moment. Alright, so we're flipping on over to the filter. This is what gives it the kind of movement and extra growliness, I guess. And that is primarily dictated by LFO 3. And shift, click, hold, and drag onto cutoff. And the same thing for resonance. And we're pretty much going to leave it at these values, to be fair. Just drop this back a little bit and drop this back a lot. May have been overselling it before, was like, this is going to be heaps of movement. And onto LFO 4. This is just simply gone on the sub, so we'll drop the sub level, click, hold, and drag, and then crank it to there. This is literally to just introduce the saw wave at the start, give it a little bit more thump, and then back off as the rest of the oscillators do some craziness. So, and speaking of thump, I almost forgot it needs to go on the second oscillator as well. But we'll click and drag that in the other direction. So it kind of does like a reverse pitch. I think it goes down and then back up. And that is the bulk of it for the main sub oscillator filter page. The rest to get this out is just purely effects inside of Serum. First things first is the all important filter. We'll drag this right up to the top. If I was overselling it before, being like, oh, the other filter's doing a lot of the sound. No, this is doing a lot of the sound. This is the classic reverb filter. I mean, just modulating that, you could come up with some crazy Resi effects. But for now, we're sending LFO 1 to this one on the cutoff just a little bit. And we're also going to send it to the mix as well and like introduce it quite a lot. Maybe like there. Next up, hyper/dimension expander. Just to make it a little bit more wider. And when I say a little bit, I mean a little bit. Actually, we could go ahead and probably crank up a unison on the first oscillator. That's super wide now. We only just need a small hint of the hyper slash dimension expander. And next up, classic distortion, of course. Don't worry, OTT is coming up as well. Now for distortion, we're gonna leave it on tube. I find that to be the best. Crank up the drive just a little bit, and you guessed it, LFO1 onto this. I think this is where the angriness of the sound kicks into gear. Also gonna turn on post and flip this up to a high pass. For 20, 30, fuck it, 430. And then LFO1, click, hold, drag, and we'll reverse the direction. So it starts with a little high pass, then opens up, and the whole frequency spectrum just hits you in the face. That's what you want. Chorus, not super essential. Just gonna leave it on its stock value, but turn the mix down a little bit. It should help make it a little bit wider as well. And if you're thinking it's still kind of sounding muffled, don't worry, compressor OTT will help sort that out. Turn that shit on, multi-band. Crank up the gain. This green value, we're gonna click, hold, and drag. That's why we love OTT. And lastly, a bit of an EQ. We're gonna select the bell filters slash notches for here. And for both frequencies, we're gonna map LFO1 onto both. Just a little bit like here and there. Q for both of them, leave them. Gain, we're gonna up this one just a little bit, and we're gonna drop this one just a little bit. And for the frequency values, drop this a little bit, and crank it a little bit. Just a little bit more character. I kinda want the two notches to be side by side, so we might drop it here. Yeah, now we're getting some character. I kind of like that though. If you want to tweak it and make it your own, just muck around with some of the LFOs. Oh my goodness, give me a sec, guys. Okay, I'm just gonna start working on it before I make it work. So yeah, that is the preset. Subscribe if you're new around here. Have a great day and peace.